Hi Rob. Now you've been through a difficult children case, and I wondered if you could say what you think is important when you're going through that kind of litigation.
Well, it's a really kind of stressful, traumatic time. You're literally battling members of your own family, people that you love, people you cared about. And I think it's so important to have somebody you can go back to who makes you feel like they care. You know, I went to various solicitors first of all, and the first thing that came across was I felt like just another case. You know, there's no emotion here. It's just another job. A lot of them kind of didn't really seem interested in whether or not I would succeed or not. They just said I could do this, I could not do that, and you really feel quite isolated and alone. And I think it's really important to feel that whoever you're talking about actually cares about you. They make you feel like they want the best for you. And if you don't get that, I think you're already onto a hiding for nothing because there's no support structure there.
Yeah, and you know, what would you think if you didn't? Could you go into court on your own? Do you think that would work? I mean, did you have any experience of that?
Again, people suggested I do that. I in my previous job, I'd had to go to court on various things, and it's so different. It's such a bad idea. And people said to me, well, you know, you're reasonably articulate and so on. You've done various legal cases with animals before. How hard can it be? Don't go down that road because it's so hard. And when you're so emotive and so involved, it's completely different to anything else you've done before, and you really can't prepare for it. So I think it's a real mistake to go in on your own. And the trouble is, by the time you realise it's a mistake, it's already too late. So I would strongly advise people not to do that. You'll only find out too late that you made the wrong choice. You have to get somebody who knows what they're doing.
And in terms of getting the right person, you know, in a family law case, do you think, you know, just going to the most local person or someone that your friend is that going to work, or what would you say about that?
So I got lots of advice on solicitors to go to first of all, and people recommended, I even got recommendations from other solicitors, well, go to these people. And what I found was none of them, A, either made me feel very secure that they could do it, or B, just didn't seem to be really interested. And I think the importance is to go to somebody first of all who specialises in family law. Your run-of-the-mill solicitor may be cheaper, but you're going to throw money away on somebody who appears to be better than they really are. So I think if you're going to go into it, you have to go into somebody who specialises. Go with somebody who specialises in family law first of all. Picking the cheaper option, you'll often get the cheaper response. And what I found was working with you or with family law was that actually I got a very good price and somebody who was actually involved in this line of work. They knew exactly what they were doing.
So knowing someone, finding, you know, insiders finding the right person to match with your case, do you think that's a good idea?
Absolutely. And so
why is that so important, do you think?
Well, I think because if you get somebody who, you know, I can go to a mechanic, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he can fix my car just because he calls himself a mechanic. It doesn't mean that he can fix every aspect of every type of car, but this is my family, you know.
Yeah.
This is my life and my family's life. I don't think you can put a price on that, and certainly I think if you go for somebody who just is the run-of-the-mill solicitor from down the road, you're going to find it'll just be disastrous. So I think you need somebody who specialises in family law, and obviously what a great place to go to. I found that the people here are very supportive and very encouraging. They mentor you through. There's not that sense of isolation. And the first thing I felt was that I wasn't on my own anymore. Yeah. And that's worth its weight in gold. I went into court believing I could win, and did, which I'd never felt with anybody else that I'd gone to before.
And in terms of the way, obviously we know family law judges or magistrates, they do probably well-meaning want to get the right result. Do you think that you'll get that if you don't have the right lawyer, or if you go on your own? Do you think you'll get the right outcome?
Well, I mean, in my case, I went in at a time when, you know, it was very difficult for fathers to get access to their children. Every solicitor I went to before said I was going to lose my home, I should just let her have the house, I can't possibly win it. Getting shared residence in my son, they were, that's not going to happen. And I went to solicitor after solicitor who told me that wasn't going to work. And it was only I got somebody who referred me to
Did you accept that result?
No, because I felt...
Why not? I mean, why not just say, the lawyers are saying this, let's just accept it?
Well, again, this is this thing where this is your life and your family's life, and you have to fight for that. And I knew that these people were wrong. The reason why they were coming to these conclusions is because they didn't know me and my family. And so I could accept what they were saying and pay the price for that, which was I knew I was going to lose access to my child. I might never see him again. But I knew that that would be the wrong thing, and I needed to find somebody who was going to say, actually, Rob, I think you're right. And I kept getting referred to solicitor after solicitor who kept saying, no, you're wrong. You're not going to get that. You
For
can't
someone to
have
back
that."
you,
Absolutely.
to see you as a person. And
But I knew
your
I was
family.
right, and I knew that if I listened to this, it would be disastrous for my family. So I kept going, and as I say, luckily somebody referred me to you, and you were the first person who said, actually, Rob, I believe you're right. So I needed somebody who was going to come into bat for me and who was going to take that mentality into court, because I knew the likelihood was that judge was going to agree with all those other people and say, well, why would I go against the norm and give this guy custody of his child? So I needed somebody coming into bat with me who already felt it and believed it, and then was going to have the ability to change this judge's mind and get him to go against the norm. And I remember when I went to court, so many people said, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. And it turned out, and when I first went in, I remember thinking, this judge is not on my side. I'm not going to win. It's going to go the way it normally does. And I think it was through having the right legal team behind me. I couldn't have changed his mind. I didn't have the skills to do that. Your run-of-the-mill solicitor probably wouldn't have either. It was the fact that I'd gone to the right people who were able to get that judge to change his mind and actually say, okay, I think that I could have made a mistake here. And I got what I went into court for. And that was only down to picking the right legal representation.
And giving you that backing.
Absolutely, and having somebody who had faith in me,
believe.
who believed that actually, not only do I believe that you should have this, but I believe I can get it for you. And without that, it would have been disastrous for both me and my son.
Rob, I'd really like to thank you for coming to talk to us.
No,
Thank you.
listen, I was delighted to come because it made such a difference to my life, and I believe if people go with their heart rather than their gut, what they're going to find is they'll get the same result I did.